Like if you out here getting up every day and like pursuing an entrepreneurial path in whatever, you could be somebody who started their own gym or started their own clothing company or restaurant. All the principles that you're gonna learn while you're building that out are the same.
These kids at a certain age, 14, 15, 16, kids are so influential at that time. They get influenced by the littlest things. So it could be the bad thing that'll just send them down that path,
for sure,
or the good thing that'll send them down that path. He ain't looking like, you know how our teachers probably look. Pants up, regular old boring collar. And we looking at them like, I don't want to be like this dude. And I used to have
coming up, I ain't had no teachers that look like me. Like, you know what I mean? So it's just like, to have what you saying, like come in with some J's on or something that they can easily identify with, they're gonna be more receptive to what you're saying.
Tuning in again, I appreciate you as much as I do, and every time you hear me say I'm excited, but this time I really do mean it. I really do mean it. I got my guy with me. This is my guy Arthur. This is real gang, real family right here, man. And for everybody who's watching, if you can do your boy a favor and hit the like button down below or give me a subscribe, I would greatly appreciate it. So for those who don't know, this is Arthur. Now Arthur, I felt it was very important to talk to Arthur because he is not only is he a creative, but we always have talks in the background that he's a conductor of culture. And I feel like we got to break that down a little bit by when I say conductor, I mean, he puts the pieces in place when it comes to making plays. So I want to get the background of you, your story, how you got your mindset, how you fell into your position. It's gonna be fun, man. It's gonna be a fun one, man. So everybody, put your seatbelts on. We going for a ride, man. Going for a ride. So yeah, let's get your background, man. Are you originally from here?
No, I was born in Dayton, Ohio. We moved here when I was in either like the 5th or the 6th grade. And so I always say, like, I was born in Dayton, raised in Columbus. All my family and stuff is from here. My mom and dad were born here, and they moved to Dayton. I was born in Dayton, and then we moved back.
Okay. Yep. So what was the upbringing like?
I mean, it was a typical black home, man. No shoes in the house. You know what I mean?
That's
keep y'all's voices down when you come in the house.
If y'all know.
For sure. We were raised in a Christian household. So that was a lot of the principles and morals and stuff that was kind of aligned in us, instilled in us.
Yeah, and that's what I kind of see. It's funny that you're saying that because that's what I kind of see as you walk. So even as you walk, as you talk, I always watch people interact with other people.
For sure.
And I'm the only child, so I've always been
dang.
So I've always been like a
lucky man.
For real though, so I've always been like an introspective person, and I've always been a big people watcher. Like I grew up literally just watching how people interact with each other. And you carry yourself, you got a good poise about yourself. Like,
thank you, bro.
You speak good, and you speak with a level of focus, and you can tell. Well, I can tell that when you're speaking, you're actually listening. So sometimes I got an issue with talking to people because a lot of people within conversation, it's them just waiting to talk.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's not a conversation to me. That's talking.
Right.
A conversation is literally going back. Like when you say something, you know, I'm dissecting literally what you're saying, especially if you're an interesting person or if you know, and gratefully in my life, I've surrounded myself with people who are creatives or they're in certain positions that, you know, are interesting. So it's like, I'm not just going to be sitting in the back. I want to know how you move, how you got into this way, boom, boom. So, yeah, now I want to break down when I say that he's a curator of culture, man. You've put on what really gravitated me towards you. So I've been knowing Arthur probably about a couple months now, you know, but when we tapped in, it was a great energy. You know, you was always a positive person. So I'm like, I'm going to have to really chop it up with this brother down the line with it. So you were putting these plays together that I really, well, not only you, but you got a team as well, which I want to get into too, the importance of having a team. But you were putting these plays together and coming up with these creative ideas that I just really wasn't seeing in the city. And I'm like, whenever I see that out of people or a team, I'm like, I got to get around that, man. That's what, for real though. But that's what
gonna rub off too, bro.
That's what motivates me, man. Like I said, I've surrounded myself with people who majority of the time are outside of the box. You know, and that's our living space. So when, I don't want to say normal people, but sometimes the citizens look at how we move, they like, they be looking like, man, how are you? You do this every day?
I feel like, I'm going to jump in, my bad.
Ain't no my bad.
I actually want to go back to, because you were getting ready to ask about, like, just putting a team together and stuff like that. You asked about the upbringing. Like, I also said you was lucky because you know what I mean, you're an only child. But, like, I got 4 siblings or 3 siblings. I'm the oldest of 4. And to hear, like, I'm an only child, I'm like, dang, I grew up wishing I was the only child, bro. I'm like, I'm the oldest, so I'm like the crash test dummy to the whole, you know, the whole situation.
That's bro, that's a great analogy. I never even heard of it like that.
You know what I mean? Because they didn't know what they was doing. If we all being honest, like my parents didn't know what they was doing with me, bro. Like it didn't get to like my middle sister where they had it all figured out. You know what I mean? That's my youngest sister. And so you talk about like bringing a team together, like that's where a lot of the mindset and stuff comes from, is like each one of my siblings is my teammate, bro. Like that's where it starts. That's where it began. And so everything that we're doing right now, everything that I'm involved in is very family oriented. And so when you ask about like, how do you walk and maneuver and you talk about watching me and how I'm putting plays and stuff together, it's like a lot of it is like, it's that family. It's the structure. Like it all is family. You know what I mean? So it's crazy to hear like you say like you walk with this poise and it's like, bro, I got 3 people looking at me like, what is he gonna do?
Bro, that's a fact. That's a fact, man.
So
you know, it's unfair, but sometimes I say that as men, and especially as men walking with a certain purpose. It's our job to take on responsibility, whether you want to or not, bro. Like, you know, it still annoys me to this day when some people be like, oh, I don't want to be a role model. And it's just like, bro, you're one.
You ain't got no choice.
Bro, you have no choice, especially if you got siblings and especially if you're the oldest. You have no choice. People are looking at you. That's the reason why it's so important about the content and the message that you put out to the world. Because that's going to inspire that next kid, 14, 16, 18, even 25. It can be a grown man. That's going to inspire them to either do good or do bad with your message. So if you pushing the message of, you know, staying creative, creating your own lane, taking your life into your own hands, and move that way, then you're going to get a lot of energy that's going to be like that. And you're going to kind of be engulfed in it.
You saying like attracted, basically. For sure.
And you definitely got that, man. I see the way people carry themselves around you. And that's the biggest part of like the way you move is how others move around you. If people move around a certain person with respect, the reason why is because that person also, I ain't even got to ask. I ain't got to know the person. They clearly carry themselves with respect.
For sure.
That's why them certain people are around. But it's funny that you said, you know, you wish you was the only child. It's always funny watching it.
Let me rephrase it, because I
No,
I don't know if that's
siblings.
for sure, because they gonna watch this and be like, he was thinking what the whole time, you know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna have some questions to answer, bro.
Yeah.
But
you love your siblings
for sure,
but it's like,
and they know that.
Yeah.
They know
but
that
it's also, it's always somebody's always wanting to live the life of something that they never lived.
Grass always greener on the other side.
Exactly.
You looking across
so when I see siblings, I'm always admirable of that. I'm like, dang, they got a connection literally that nobody can break.
For sure.
And they like literally born with it. Yeah. It's not something, and down the line, you make friends your family.
For sure. I got some of that too.
Yeah.
And now, some of that too.
That literally, that's why that phrase, blood sometimes ain't thicker than water, because you can find that person down the road and connect in a certain way that you've never connected with your family back in the day. Next thing you know, y'all rocking like y'all was born together down there.
Yeah.
So those relationships are definitely important. But I want to get back into the topic of team.
Okay, bet.
So I believe Star Days Kids is a team of what, 3?
So SDK, I actually sit as 1/3 of SDK. Yeah, Donovan Ingram is the founder of Star Days Kids.
Okay.
His uncle and his brother started Star Days Kids like 10 years ago.
Wow.
And so
dang, it's been around
Donovan,
that long?
Yeah. Donovan came to me and it was 2020. It was COVID. My mom, so when I talk about like everything is like family, like it really is family. Like Donovan is like my brother-in-law. Like he's about to marry my sister. So like
keeping it in house,
bruh, like it's all connected in that way. So my mom was throwing like cookouts and having dinners during COVID just to kind of keep everybody like together basically. And one of them cookouts, me and Donovan was just sitting and talking, and he was like, bro, I wanna pick your brain on like conceptually how we can make SDK like a brand.
A real brand. I mean?
Yeah, and so that's kind of how like we got to this point.
Okay.
And
so how long y'all been rocking?
Me and Donovan?
Yeah. A little while, dude.
Yeah, because that's what, 3 years?
Okay.
That conversation we had already, I would say, a year in from there, and then from 2020 till what we in now, we about going to 2023. So I would say 4 years.
Yeah.
Been together working on SDK, and we've been saying SDK the new UGK because it's like Star Days Kids and new underground kings. You know what I mean? Because I feel like we did so much work like behind the scenes that nobody was really seeing. Like from 2020 on to like what people saw in 2022. Like we were writing stuff down, working behind the scenes. We did drops, we did capsules and stuff like that. And like
y'all capsule collections be amazing, man.
Thank you, bro.
That's what, not to cut you off, but that's what really caught my eye. It's like you see people try to do capsule collections, and it's just like, I see what y'all try to do, but you should have did it this way or this way.
Right.
And y'all carried it out. Y'all carry it out right, man. Yeah. So like, I've been to maybe like 2 of your capsules so far now, and I'm like, this theme. I know how much it takes to be a creative director. I know how much energy that takes, let alone with just one person, 2 people, 3 people, because everybody got their own ideas, the way they want the brand to head. So it's like, it's really a powerful thing when y'all can all get on the same page.
Yeah, for sure.
It's powerful, man. So I want to get into, you said it, and we had a conversation about it earlier, but branding and how important branding is. Yeah. We was talking earlier that the days kind of blur together.
For sure.
Like
this man asked me how I'm doing. I'm like, how's your week been? I'm like, man.
That's the thing with brands, bro. Like when you're really trying to build something, I don't look at Monday is Saturday to me.
Right.
Sunday is Thursday. Like when you're really trying to put something in play, you don't really work off the that generic type of schedule.
That's the normal. That's the
normal.
Usual.
That is the usual.
What we're doing is abnormal. It's like,
and that's why I say sometimes it is like it's a citizens thing. It's like, okay, these are citizens. Yeah. We are us.
Right.
Because we kind of move against this grain to where people be like, oh, you do this every day?
It's the creative entrepreneur.
Yeah.
It's like coupling that creative side, the videography, the whatever production and development, creative direction in with okay, we still got to pay the bills. You know what I mean? So like you kind of got to have both sides, like the business side and the creative side. And when you bring those two together, bro, like
you just went into a whole nother lane that I'm so ready to jump in. Bro, is the business side.
Yeah.
So this is the thing with creatives, man. Like you get certain artists and certain people who really love their craft, whether they be painters, this, that. And it's just like, I understand you get obsessive and you want to only do that. Yeah. I get it.
Yeah.
But the thing is, we are in a world where finances drives dreams.
For sure.
So you have to learn how to get that balance.
For sure.
You can't just be in one world of, I only want to do this, and then expect money to fall from the sky or endorsements to come in and sponsorship to come in out of nowhere. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah, for sure.
So you always have to have a plan with what your brand is. And another thing, that's what I seen out of you is like, when y'all making these capsules, y'all making these themes, y'all hosting these events, it's a financial side to it too.
Bro, for real.
Hey, we selling this, we doing this.
For sure.
We'll love to lock in on endorsements, sponsorship.
For sure.
All that stuff is important, man. And that may look boring, but when you take your brand serious, you realize how important that is to incorporate.
Without no money, you don't have no leg to really stand on.
Bro, that's a fact.
I think like a lot of times people think like these houses and these buildings just falling out of the sky, these dope projects just
like they just
popping
Legos.
Up. Yeah, and it's like, bro, there's so much stuff that goes on behind the scenes that like people really don't see. Yeah. And for me, I think like that's the behind the scenes stuff. Like I prefer to be behind the scenes, like working and doing whatever needs to be done. Like the being out in front of the camera, being out in front of the people and stuff. Like the interactions is cool, but it's like once it's done, it's like, all right.
You the man in the shadows.
Man.
But that's also a rewarding feeling too, is knowing that you put a play together and you didn't have to show your face.
Yeah.
Because that's I've learned to, when we're young, we, especially coming from certain backgrounds, we come from a black culture.
Yeah.
And within that black culture, sometimes, majority of the time, we look at people and judge their status off of appearance.
Right.
So the older I got, I started looking at people, and the more I've done, I started looking at people more for their brains.
Right.
And what they've done.
And it's the heart too, bro.
It's the heart.
So it's both the. Well, go ahead, my bad.
Bro, no, that's a fact. It's definitely the heart. It's definitely the heart. And we get so infatuated with what somebody has on, what that sheer layer is, or who those people are around them, that we be like, oh, this person must be up, or this person must be down, or this person doesn't do anything, or this person does that. But it's like,
or I want to work with that person. Yeah. And then you don't know, you get in the room and you start to build and it's like, I don't know if this is about to work for real. You know what I mean? So it's like, bro, discernment, bro, like being able to like, know exactly what play to run. Like I think about like the coaches on the sideline, like how they know what play to run, like it's the third quarter, you know what I mean? It's third and long. How you know what play to run? Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's like you never really know, like until you like in the room, in the space with the person building. Yeah. And so
that's a fact,
like
bro.
Being able to tell.
And that's funny because we go through it. Yeah. We go through when you collab visions, you see what type of person somebody is, especially if you up under them. And we work on projects
like how they lead,
how they follow.
Right.
We had that conversation earlier too. When you really want to build a brand and build something great and have a great team, you got to know when to sit in the driver, when to sit in the passenger, And even when to know to push the car.
Right,
Sometimes
right.
Sometimes you gotta push that motherfucker, bro.
For sure.
You might run out of gas and you the rock.
Yeah.
You the one who gotta keep it all together. And you know, I've had plenty of times like that. And luckily, once again, I've surrounded myself with people who take their brands and their names and their reputations just as serious.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to let you fall because I don't want to fall.
Right.
And you know, that's why it's good to jumping back to responsibility. I'm all for taking on responsibility, and especially I'm admirable of other men who do it as well, because that just shows that you got the shoulders to carry it.
Yeah.
And that shows that
it don't come overnight. Like, bro, you gotta do the push-ups. You know what I mean? Because the first couple times you get to, I think it's two things though. You gotta have the opportunity to carry it. You know what I mean? If you don't never got no opportunity to carry it, you not gonna be able to carry it. You know what I mean?
Fact.
You don't know what that weight is. And then the second thing is, like, you also gotta be working. You gotta know that eventually, sometime, the opportunity for you to shoulder something is gonna come. So, like, you gotta balance those two things. I think going back to, you were asking about just the upbringing, like when we first moved here, like, we was staying in my grandparents' basement, bro. Like, so to watch my mom's trajectory from like the time we moved here to now having like a early learning center for the past 14 years, like that's a shift, bro. Like that's you know what I mean? That's a heavy load to like bear, you know what I mean? So
because it's not, that load is so heavy because it's not one piece.
Right.
Like when you really building something, bro, it's like a grandfather clock. Yeah. It's not just one gear that control. It's 1,000 gears. Yeah. Like you said, you gotta have that business mentality. You gotta have the hustle. Yeah. You gotta have the health. Yeah. You gotta have the education. You gotta have the finances. For sure. Bro, and that's just a handful, literally a handful of things. Bro, you gotta have
still 100 things behind them things.
Bro, that's a fact. Yeah. You gotta learn how to carry a team.
For sure.
So that means you got to be a people person in a certain way. You got to know who's weak in certain ways. You got to know who has strengths. Yeah. And man, that's a lot of responsibility bro. Like, that's why, once again, I can see that out of people because I've had my ass kicked plenty of times. I still get my ass kicked to this day. Yeah. And I've learned to accept it and grow with it. Yeah. I used to be a little bit more complaining. You know, like, man, why is this happening? Why is this happening to me? Why is this? Why? But then I just learned how to just turn it off and be like, okay, this happened. Yeah. What did I learn from it? Right. Who did I get out of it, and who did I cut off from it?
Dang.
You know, the older you get, the older I'm getting, the more and the certain.
Yeah, I'm getting younger, bro. I don't know what you're talking about. No,
I like that talk. I like that. But the more experience that you get.
For sure.
The more experience that you get, the more solidified the relationships you have around you are already in play. Yeah. So I kind of understand the phrase "no new friends," but it's also like you want to network and build your team and build the people around you as strong as you can.
For sure.
So sometimes a strength is bringing on new people, and sometimes a strength is cutting out the old. Right. Seeing what's growing with you and what's not. Right. It is what it is.
You'll make it work.
I'll definitely make it work. So we were talking about, building that brand and having that team in place. Yeah. And you being a conductor, that I see how you handle your team. I see how you handle the people around you. What I want to touch on too is,
I'm sensitive about, you said handle. I'm like, I'm sensitive about words, bro. I'm like,
that's a
work
fact.
with.
Work with.
You know what I mean? Like, collaborate. These are the types of words. You know what I mean?
Okay, that's a fact. Words are powerful.
For sure.
They create narratives.
For sure.
I appreciate that, though. I appreciate you on that.
Sure.
That helped me a little bit.
Yeah,
that helped me a little bit. But what I've seen the most is you work with a handful of young people. And that's what I really like, man. That's what got me into, the YouTube thing and, working on certain projects for people that are younger than me. Man. And also, coming from the same background as me. Yeah. Because in our world, bro, there is no school for it. Like when you go into school, Where did they teach you how to build a brand, how to build a team, how to do that? You got to learn that from other creatives. Yeah. And majority of the time, just like you bumped your head as the oldest child, these OGs, these older creatives, they had to show the youth like, hey, you want to land a brand deal? Let me show you how. Right. Oh, you like Nike? Let me show you how to get a deal with them. Yeah. Ain't no school showing you how to do that, bro. Right.
So the school's trying to stay in business. If it's me passing the game down to say Carter, you know what I mean? That separates that you don't need the school at that point. You know what I mean? So I think like, you know, we're talking about family, we're talking about teams. Like I mentioned my mom at her center. Like I spent 10 years working as the communications coordinator for her early learning center. And so you also talked about you got to know when to lead and when to follow. And most of the times, like if you're a good leader, then you were a good follower. And so I followed her for so long, for that 10-year span. And it taught me and gave me this appreciation of like, one, information, you know what I mean? Two, it gave me an appreciation of like education. Like we're talking about like, okay, if I pass the game to Carter, the education system is no longer important. But being at this early learning center, like it gave me this appreciation for like, dang, these kids is like coming here every day, like wanting to learn something new. You know what I mean? What's up, Mr. AJ? Da, 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 da. Like, you know what I mean? And we right downtown, so these is inner city kids that like don't have like nothing for real. You know what I mean? These is the kids that like, these the bad kids, bro. Yeah. These the kids that like people not really being considerate of or considering at all. You know what I mean? So
I had a friend break it down to me as far as like the youth and coming up that way. He said at that age, when you're in a certain level of poverty, all you have as a child and at that adolescent age, you're full with influence and dreams. So breaking that down, like these kids at a certain age, 14, 15, 16, kids are so influential at that time. They get influenced by the littlest things. So it could be the bad thing that'll just send them down that path,
for sure,
or the good thing that'll send them down that path. And it's like when somebody like a you or me step into the play, or other, you know, people on our side and who do what we do,
that do positive stuff.
Yeah,
bro.
That and creative
just
stuff
trying to create a different narrative, bro.
And what also builds that connection with these kids, it might seem like it's little, but it's everything from the culture. It's how we dress, how we talk, what we wear, like how we move, how we that ties in with them, because it's just like, oh, Mr. like you said, Mr. A, he cool. Mr. A got on the new kicks. Mr. A got on this tight hoodie. He ain't looking like, you know how our teachers probably look. Pants up, regular old boring collar. And we looking at them like, I don't want to be like this dude. And I used to have
coming up, I ain't had no teachers that look like me. Like, you know what I mean? So it's just like, to have what you saying, like come in with some J's on or something that they can easily identify with, they're gonna be more receptive of what you saying.
Bro, that's like mixing, that's called mixing the medicine with the candy. And you know, that's once again, that's how we're born. That's how we come in. We're born with culture, bro. Like we was talking earlier about just getting dressed and the way we walk. We don't even think about it half the time, because we grew up in it. So when these outside influences who don't come from our background, they see that and be like, that's valuable. The way you walk, the way you talk, how you interact with people, that's valuable. But we don't see it as valuable because we do it every day. So we just like,
dang, bruh,
for real though. So that's the reason why it's so important to be putting that same type of mentality and that awareness into people who are younger than us or who want to do something in our field. Like, bro, this is value. Like we talked about creative direction. Bro, that shit is valuable, bro. Like, and all of that comes from reference points. How you grew up. Like you said, you grew up in that communication center. You didn't know that you was building these skills until you have to apply them. Now when you applying them, you're like, damn, I did learn that from Mom. Mom Duke showed me this.
For sure.
I remember working with this team and they showed me this. Now you're carrying it on.
For sure.
And bro, that's so important. It's beyond important, bro.
Even the kind of tie in background, I actually lived in LA for some time in 2011. And when I came back, I started school. I got my associate in arts, and then I transferred from Columbus State, transferred to Franklin. And I was in these business classes like, bro, this is so boring. Like, what am I doing here? And I ended up dropping out. But a part of it was like, a lot of this stuff, you gonna learn if you're doing it. Like, if you out here getting up every day and like pursuing an entrepreneurial path in whatever, you could be somebody who started their own gym or started their own clothing company or restaurant. All the principles that you're gonna learn while you're building that out are the same. You know what I mean? You're gonna learn it as you're doing it. So for me to sit in this class and have the teacher who don't have their own business, you know what I mean, hasn't really started anything, telling me like,
this is how you do it.
Yeah, it was like, I'm like, okay, you're telling me, but you're not showing me. You know what I mean?
Smoking mirrors for real.
So I think in saying like talking about, you know, my mom and just the things that I've learned from watching her build out her own, like she went from like, bro, a stay-at-home mom to like a entrepreneur, like Fortune 500 type stuff. You know what I mean? So it's just like to watch that, and how you're saying like you watching it, you picking up these different principles, like. And I didn't know, like, inherently, like, oh, okay, this is the principle I gotta write down. Like, it's just something that was just being downloaded while I was just around. You know what I mean? So,
and that's why it's important to do that at such a young age, because, like I said, you're a sponge.
For sure.
You literally, you don't know that you're learning.
Yeah.
When we, like, right now, if somebody give us some game, we know to take notes. Like, oh, okay, oh, bet. When you young, you're mentally taking notes by what you're around. Yeah. So if you see somebody getting into some shit, you feel me, that they ain't supposed to be getting into, you're not saying like, you did that wrong. Let me change it. No, you're just like,
bet I don't.
Yeah, bro, for real though. Or on the other side, let me try it.
Yeah, for sure.
And then some people don't. Some people are lucky enough and fortunate enough to hit a pothole.
Yeah.
You know, it ain't a grave. It's just a slight bump in that road. And you hit a couple of those, and then as you get older, you really be appreciative of like, damn, I had a lot of places where I could have failed.
Yeah, right off that cliff.
Yeah, because I mean, you know, I'm pretty sure you do as well. You know, I grew up going to different schools as far as like financially. So I went to like prominent good schools like the Westervilles, which is like it's a well-known community that has a decent amount of money in our city.
For sure.
So I went to those, and I also went to Columbus Public.
Yeah.
So I've really seen, it was polarizing, the difference of like education, how they talk, how they walk, how much the teachers do and don't care. Yeah. You see why those schools and those districts end up that way.
For sure.
And you know, that was, once again, I look back on that now and be like, dang, that was kind of messed up, man, that they really believed in that, and they didn't have that system in place that was going to get people in a certain position. Yeah. You know, we had to bump our head.
For sure.
And even going back to that school, I was young enough to where I still could be influenced. So I got into a little bit of trouble, even though I came from this type of school. Right. That's the power of influence, though. Your environment is your influence.
Yeah, you feel me? That's one of the things that, like, once I ended up graduating from CCAD, and so one of the things when I left, I was like, all I want to do is build environments, and so that's really like where I'm at right now. Is like,
that's crazy.
Being focused on is like. That's all I want to do. Is
and like that's what I see. You helping a lot of people, whether you know it or not, even though I'm pretty sure you do. Yeah. And you influencing a lot around you. And people are always watching. That's why I said, you know, I'm never really in people's face. Yeah. But if I do want to show you love in that way, like, bro, I see what you're doing. I'm watching. Yeah. You cold at it. And you're doing it right.
I appreciate it.
You know, I'm always going to do that with anybody that I'm surrounded by. So I just want to wrap it up, man. I had a great talk. I hope y'all enjoyed this with my brother Arthur, man. And also, I don't want to leave out my man Noah. He's been sitting on the sideline. He's been collecting all our information. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put all your business endeavors, everything you got going on for our Star Day kids, you know, some of the teams that you work with. I'm going to put all the information down below. And if you guys could once again subscribe to your boy, help us out. Thank you, brother.
For sure,
Thank you, man. I
For
appreciate
sure.
you, man.
For sure.
So I'm going to catch y'all later. See y'all next time.
All right.